Yo, I have got some art to do once again. And I told my jam mate that I would do it today. And then I forgot. So I'm back. I'm going to do it now. I'm going to make some little icons to go with these guys. So, our programmer, our technical designer, has very, very nicely given me a really good shopping list of what I need to do for icons. And also what size they need to be, which is great. That's the kind of stuff you need with an art specification. So there we go. And yeah, I'm just going to have the stream on. And then if anyone pops in and wants to chat, then they can. That's it. So I need a loathsome icon. So part of the problem is these are quite colourful. So if I put little icons over them, they're not going to show up very well. So I might need to do the icon on a little black circle or something to make sure it's legible. So I think we'll go with something like, so the idea of the leader stat or the leader trait is that having one of these on a mission is good, but having two is worse than having none. So leaders sort of fight each other. I think that would be a little crown. I think with unhappy and injured, we'll go for like a just a simple sad face for unhappy in a sort of pinky red. And injured, not sure. But these are sort of the same sort of thing. They are like negative points towards a character quitting. So we're going to do them in the same color. But I'm not sure what an injury would be. Maybe like a bleeding symbol, like a blood drop. Blood drop, sad face. Maybe this should be like inverted so it's a face like that with dark features like that. That will probably read better. And then delightful. Loathsome means the character makes other characters unhappy when they get sent on missions with them. And I think this should be a poo symbol. Like a poo emoji. That's a pretty good poo. Some sort of sunshine for delightful. So this means that they make other people happy when they go on a mission together. This means they make other people sad when they go on a mission together. This means that they like to be the boss and they don't like there to be another leader. And then these are sort of like being hurt, reducing you to, yeah, like lower, what would you call it? being closer to quitting or dying, I guess. And then a symbol for a shop, which I would think, you know, our interface is mostly purple, so I'm going to make these purple. I think shop, we either do a trolley, a shopping basket, or we do a market stall type thing like this. And then management and hiring is hard because I guess we could have a similar language where we have a thing for three people together, like a little family thing as the management, and then the hiring could be a person with a plus on, something like that. And then missions is going to be maybe the world map. And I don't think these should all be purple. I think they're going to go on that purple and white interface, but we'll see. And then ads, I'll probably do in another session. So I'm going to have a go at these larger icons first. And so that means I need a 128. Oh, yeah, 128. And I cannot do math in my head today. I'm so tired. So what's 128 times 4? I should know that. 512, of course. Right, 512. I'll make a 4 icon wide grid. And I'll make this 64 by 64 so I can see where the midpoint is in each icon. And then when I show the grid, yeah, we've got our kind of 4 icons along there. So I think these probably need to be see-through, but I'm going to just develop them on a grey background for now and make sure I do it on a different layer. There we go. And I guess these little icons are going to need to be quite mini, but 128 by 128. I'll probably do these in the same style as the rest of the game. So let's find a shopping cart icon. The problem with the shopping cart and style I've done the rest of the game in is it's very based on lines. And the whole point of this cutout art style is it's not based on lines. So I'm going to have to work out an approach for this. But I don't think it'll be too much of a challenge. So I'm putting my reference images here. And reference is just a way of saying I'm going to cheat and trace over them like I've been doing with all of this game. And so we've got a shopping trolley. And then we want management and hiring. Like I say, I think these can be related to each other. So I think person, shoulders, emoji. What does that look like? Hey, Ed. Oh, we've got like a really slow game jam going on all of April. I'm not sure if I'm going to do them every 3 months or every 4 months yet, but yeah, just doing pretty chill ones that last for a month. Because I know that there's a lot of sort of older people that watch this channel that have kids and stuff, so it's very hard I mean, it's hard for anyone to do a 2-day game jam regardless, but I think the older the audience is, the harder it is for people to find time for stuff like that. So always kind of gonna do game jams that are a bit slower and a bit longer, I think. Okay, so we're going to have our hiring symbol, which will be like a character positioned over on the left with a plus next to them. And then our management symbol can be like the same sort of character, but with a bunch of them together, I think. Just make those a bit smaller. Not cheating, it's remixing. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, my thoughts exactly. You can do math in GIMP number inputs. You can type the multiplication sign in. Wow, I did not know that. Thank you for that one. That's a neat trick. Right, so we've got this is our management symbol for going to the management menu. So 3 people together, so it looks like a roster. This one is our add a person, which will be our hiring, and then our missions icon I think should be a globe. But I want to actually want an old school globe with the spinny axis on, because I think that looks a bit more evil geniusy. Well, actually, maybe the sort of grid symbol. So we've got a so big. We've got a thing we can match up with the style of the shopping cart then, because it's based on a weird grid thing. So maybe that would be better. We'll see. Yes, I'm going to use the same sort of method that I used for the characters, but try and keep these relatively simple, these icons. Maybe I'll do 2 versions. Maybe I'll do some that have a bit more kind of 3D-ness to them and some that just are very flat. But I know what I could do as well as a reference point. I'll get the screenshot of the game that our programmers put together, which is this so far. So, here is at least give me reference points for colors and stuff, because maybe I can take this purple across and maybe even just do all of the icons in that color for now. Just make them a little bit 3D or something. I don't know, let's see. So I'm doing my snippy snip. This method makes absolutely no sense for something so liney as this, but one bug that I hate in GIMP is when I'm doing something like this where I have to manipulate a selection tool a lot. If I want to use the additive or the subtractive selection where you hold down Control or Shift, I sort of have to reselect the tool after each time, or the keyboard shortcuts don't work. And I don't know why, but it's just annoying. Maybe I can just... No, that's gonna ruin it. It's not gonna be close enough if I do that. And it's going to be a bit janky this way, but I'm still trying to keep that sort of 60s Scooby-Doo vibe to the whole thing. And it should help tie it together a bit, because programmer has made the interface in a very, very close approximation of Windows 98. I'm really, really surprised with that, actually. Like, I didn't think it would get that close. But this looks so much like a Windows 98 interface. I love it. And now we're just doing little touches to make it look more evil. Like making it purple. Hi, Jasper. Or Jasper. Hi, Lowells. I've had one of those days where I've had to change my brain so many times that I just forgot loads of stuff. And I told our programmer earlier, and they sent me a list of icons for that we might need for this game, and I said, yeah, I think I can do that today, and then I just completely forgot that I'd said that. Yeah, maybe that will work, and I'll just probably just put a highlight on them or something along the top, because I did that on the world map icons as well. I can probably just stamp that, can't I? I don't need to do the same trace job on the others, because I can do that sort of thing. I don't want it over. That looks like a three-headed person now. Have you installed everything you need to on the new laptop, Jasper? Because I always find when I get a new piece of tech like that, that's like the job I put off, because I want to use it, but I hate sitting there waiting for things to install. So then I just leave it in the box out of impatience. Right. These are just not working for me, so I'm getting rid of those. But these are okay, and I sort of like that they have a similar um, just style to them to each other. So I need a symbol that means recruit, and I need a symbol that brings up your sort of list of people you can get. Aha, that'll do it. Magnifying glass with a person in it. That's a good one. And yeah, so this kind of thing as our recruitment symbol. And then I think I want this to be a bit chunkier than it is, so I'm going to go round about here, just by eye. Although it doesn't really read as a magnifying glass. It's a very abstracted magnifying glass, this one that I picked. And then I'm going to, because I want the torso and the head to be solid rather than lines. But I quite like the very round shape that they've got because it sort of looks cute. So I'm going to keep the round shape and make a very rounded but solid like that. Right, I think that definitely does the job better than the first attempt. So the game we are working on is a sort of operating system simulator where you are playing as like the HR in an evil organization. So they yeah, you hire henchmen, and they're either scientists or spies or muscle, and then you send them around the world to do evil, nefarious deeds. But you're not really the boss; you're the HR person. So you are like haggling with them about their pay and stuff like that, and hiring and firing them and everything. And at the moment, I'm just making a couple of icons to go into this computer interface. The only thing I'm worrying about now is I'm trying to do the icons in this art style, and actually, when I look at this, I think maybe they should be a bit smoother. So I might make them a little bit more 3D looking, and because we've got some pure black in the interface here, which is what makes it look so Windows 95. I just wonder if I should make these look a little bit glossier and more 3D, just so that they fit with the computer rather than the portraits. But I think I can do that. I'm pretty sure I can do that. Just might need to do more layers. And then I need one that is managing a group of people. So where's there's a family icon that gets used a lot, where it's people standing together. Mm, multiple people emoji. So I should bring this over onto my main screen, really. So we want a symbol that just represents like here are all of the people that you have to manage. Actually, maybe that is the one. Maybe it's just that sort of thing. Because I've already used that kind of very rounded figure in the hiring one, so I should use the same visual language even if it's a different scale. I think that would probably work. Roughly the same shape as the other ones. And maybe I'll make them orange, purple, and blue like this, so that they are sort of indicating that three types that we've got in the three kind of class colors that we've got in the game. So I'll put an orange person at the front. And so the orange one will be standing at the front because they're the combat villains. So that's the muscle. They need to be at the front as a meat shield. And then get this kind of purple up here. I'm glad it lets you pick colors from another file, because I would not be able to do this right now. Otherwise, I'd have to copy and paste in a swatch in, and it would be really annoying. And then one of these bright blues from around here for the scientist. And it looks kind of like it indicates different players. Like if you saw that in a board game, it would indicate the like three different player colors. But I think we're going to see enough of this set of three colors throughout the game to understand what they refer to. And then I just need to change these other ones, I think. Hi, Furfur. And then I think what I'll do is I'll keep the purple theme generally, but I'm going to try and make this one grey with a very dark magnifying glass. And I'm going to test them on a white background because I think they will usually be on a white background. And because we're trying to make them match this sort of Windows 95 style, I might make them a bit shinier and have a sort of shadow and a highlight on everything. And then, yeah, so I'll just merge those layers because I'm a chaos goblin and I like to merge layers. And maybe just hue shift that and try some different colors. Maybe we'll go for green for shopping just because I don't use green anywhere else and it'll make it a bit clearer. And now the world map that we have isn't actually blue, so I don't know if I'll... It's a sort of evil shadow world. But I might still make this blue just so it's clear what it is. Because I think that's the symbol we would use for like a network or the internet or something a lot of the time, more than anything. And then I'm going to make a layer for highlights. Although, yeah, I don't know if the method I've been using is going to work very well for this because it's so small. But we'll see. Go through each object and put a couple of basic highlights in. And it doesn't matter if I go over into the white because it's going to be white anyway. The thing about Windows 95 icons is they were very low res and kind of pixel art, but they were quite detailed. And I don't think that's going to fit with the art style I've chosen for other parts of the game. So I'm just going to try and find a happy medium. You know, do a bit of both and make nobody happy. The classic corporate approach to doing anything creative. Oh, you've shown us option A and B. Can we just sort of smush them together and make something that has no clear identity? Yeah, sure. I mean, I presented them to you separately because, you know, they don't really go together. But if you insist on not being able to make a decision about anything in your entire life, then sure, I can just artistically lerp to the exact midpoint of these two art styles. This isn't me talking about this game, by the way. This is my experience of working with corporate creative leadership type people. Right, so if I turn the selection thing off and then just do that, now I've got a layer that I can just mess around with a little bit. Does anyone understand? Does anyone ever really understand blend modes, or do you just randomly click through them until it does something interesting? Because that's how I use blend modes. And then shadows. We're going to do the same with the shadow layer. And maybe I'll put a slight color on this shadow just so that it gives the whole thing a bit more flavor, because it looks okay for what we need it to do, but doesn't look very evil at the moment. And this is supposed to be an evil interface for an evil organization. What I might try is something like a very dark red shadow or something for these. So, you know, just so it feels a bit more evil. Probably going to have to go back and cut into this again later because I'm going over into the white a lot and it's going to show really badly. But hey. This is not a game that I took on because I think I'm great at art and I'll be able to do a great job of some art. It was just, hey, we're doing a game jam. I do want to contribute, but I want to do a jam where I don't have to do any programming for once. So give me something where I can make portraits and icons. Nothing that I have to animate. Let's just see what this layer is doing now. Put a bright red on it. Wow. Hi, any place but here. Are you saying you randomly clicked here? Is that how you ended up here? Maybe we put a question mark on this guy's face or something. Yeah, you never know what you're going to get when I'm streaming, but I guess if it's a planned stream, then it will have a proper thumbnail and stuff. If it just has a big white indie game clinic thing, then it's because I've just got some random time. And I think I actually, so all of the art I've done for this game so far, I did in 1 hour bursts on streams, and it's actually been a really good way of working because it gives you deadline panic, but it's like microdosing deadlines, giving yourself an hour to work on something and then not working on it for again for 2 days or whatever. Very difficult to do with programming. You wouldn't get much done in an hour in most cases. But I mean, I guess it depends what problems you're trying to solve. But yeah, definitely with making art assets, just doing a 1 hour burst has been really, really productive for me. Especially seeing as a lot of my day job is split between doing very spreadsheety type game design for other people or writing content for the channel. So having short bursts of time to do something that's totally visual is really nice. And it's sort of got me thinking about what the next couple of projects I might work on after the game jam are. Because I feel a bit more competent at least static art, not animation. I might make a visual novel or something with a very weird premise. Just haven't worked out what that is yet. I'll turn the grid off for a bit. You just paste them. Just screen grab this for a second and paste it into the interface we've got and just see what they look like in context. They're not amazing, but they don't look totally out of place either. Yeah. The Pomodoro method got me through my PhD pretty much. Like, it was the only way I could focus by the end of it. Yasso is asking for. There it is. Hi, 15. It's a game jam game. The theme of the game jam was you're not the main character. So we were thinking of games where you could play like an HR department or something, and then came up with the idea of being a HR department for the axis of evil. So we've got lots of characters you can hire. And I probably need to go through this and do some palette swaps to give us a bit more variety. But at the moment, I've got other stuff that's higher priority. World map where they go on missions, and at the moment I'm just trying to build these icons out so that we've got our all of our key stuff that we need for the gameplay. You do a blurred version of that highlight so that it's a little bit glossier looking. That's a little bit more Windows 95. Not exactly the same style as the portraits, but again, it's a slightly different use case because we're trying to make things that look like the computer icons. Might even go around and smooth the edges of these off a little bit. Parasin, that's a good shout. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've been asked for the icons. I'm not entirely sure how they work as buttons. So I can dynamically fit images into a set size, so exact size doesn't matter. So I'm guessing that if SmugPyre has already programmed these kind of buttons, I really only need to make the image to go onto them. Yeah, I've done this all with the mouse, but because it is this very like straight, jagged edges, it's part of the reason why I chose this style. I mean, it kind of looks 1960s and it fits with the sort of spy espionage theme. But yeah, it's a style that I can do with a mouse, and it looks a bit janky, but it kind of has a particular evokes a particular time period and stuff as well. So, and again, we're not making this to release. I mean, I I one of the things that's been really good about working with a partner on this project is often when I do game jams, I make types of games I don't really want to make just because it's what I can make quickly. So I would never try and make a sort of strategy game like this on my own for a game jam because I just wouldn't be able to do it. So I always end up making little action games, and it's like, well, it doesn't really excite me very much. So yeah, I don't know. It's nice even when you're doing a game jam to still be trying to make like a mini version of something that you'd like to make a bigger version of. So yeah, I think these are good. I don't think I need to do much else with these yet. I'm just gonna double check that green. It looks a bit janky there. This is the most sort of wibbly wobbly one out of all of them, but maybe, yeah, I'll push it towards that sort of olive green a bit more because we've got that in our color palette with these guys. We don't really have a pure green in the color palette here. We've got olive and we've got turquoisey type teal green. We don't actually have like an apple green at all in this color palette here. And I'm not being very strict about that, but it's still good to think about overall so that it feels like it has a deliberate style, I guess. I think the red shadows kind of work for me. They just make it look a bit more evil. Sort of going for an overall purple and red kind of thing for the overall thing. Magneto did nothing wrong. Hench UI icons. Yeah, no, Hench button icons. And I'll do the PNG of those. And then the other ones I've got to do are like status icons. So we've got these three top ones are like permanent traits that one of your villains can have. So if they're loathsome, delightful, or a leader, that's a permanent trait and you can't do anything about it. And then these ones are almost like injuries. So you've got injuries where they get physically harmed, and then you've got unhappiness where they're not being paid enough, or you put them with someone who's loathsome and they have a bad time on their mission or whatever. So this is kind of the approach I'm thinking of, at least in terms of what the icons are and the respective colors of them, because these are basically just different versions of the same thing. The yellow is for indicating a positive thing, although the crown is a difficult one because the rule I was thinking of for if they've got the leadership trait, basically if you put one, if when you're putting them on a mission, if you send one leader, it boosts the whole team. If you send two leaders, they argue and it makes it worse. So that's kind of the idea of how that trait works. I love that we're discussing how to make icons look evil. That's fantastic. So now we're doing an icon strip of height 32, and I'm going to check. Was it who was it? Yeah, it was Gamma that said you can apparently put mathematical equations in here. That's amazing. Although I wanted it horizontal. Let me do that again. There we go. Right, and then this will be status icons. And I'll set the grid up again. But this time, these are, what is it, 32. So I'm going to have a 16 by 16 grid so that we can see the midpoint of each icon. And these need to be quite bold because maybe they're still going to show up on the characters when they're this small. So I need to make sure that they're quite bold. And I think what I might do is do them in these bright colors, but put a little bit of a thin black vignette behind them so that they're legible. So maybe if I can get a circle brush that's the right size for that, can I just make it 32 across and it will... Yeah, that'll do. Remember, nothing here is precision because we're not doing a... This isn't a... I'll snap to grid. Will it go to the middle if I do that? You know, it's just a game jam. We want to do our best, but it doesn't matter that much. Sure. What lavatory paper? I'm so confused. And then I'll do the unhappy and the sunshine first because they are circular. So we're going to have a sort of neon. It's not really red, is it? It's like a almost like a neon pink color for our negative things. And that one is for the I'm unhappy and I want to quit symbol. We've all been there. And then one for the delightful symbol, which is basically that the character is a ray of sunshine and everyone loves going on missions with them. And then we're going to have like a blood drop for being injured. And that will be that one. So I think I can probably work from that. Turn the snap off. The thing with these is they're so small that you need to keep reminding yourself to look at it properly. Like at the right distance. I used to work with an artist a long time ago, and he'd be working on tiny stuff like like a app icon for the App Store, and he'd just always forget to zoom out and look at the whole thing in the right context. Can't tell if that's symmetrical. Are we doing pixel counting? I guess we are. Yeah, well, we beefed it. Beefed it. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Uh, Cohen the Barbarian. You know what? I went back and started rereading a Discworld book recently, and it was a really interesting experience because people remember them as being sort of like pure comedy books, and they're obviously very funny, but they don't. The gags aren't like there might be a joke sort of every other page or something, but the rest of it's just beautiful writing, like really good fantasy writing, and it's very interesting that sort of thing when people not misremember something, but the thing they emphasize when they tell you about it is not necessarily the thing that's good about it. Like I had a similar thing with Dark Souls. I didn't play Dark Souls for so long because all anyone ever talked about was how hard it was, and I didn't realize it had other merits. uh, Sometimes the thing you might like something, but because of the way it's been described, people are always just describing the wrong thing to you. They go, "Oh, you like this? It's really hard." I'm like, "Well, that's not inherently appealing to me. You like this? It's really funny. It's this really funny fantasy book." And it's like, well, yeah, Discord is funny, but there's other good stuff going on in it, I think. I think maybe what I need to do with this one is cut that and then rotate it. Move it. Looks reasonably like a sunshine. I don't think I ever did Reaper Man. I think I read. Well, a lot of them I didn't read. I had the audio books of them, which is funny because now I just associate Tony Robinson so much with Pratchett. But I had the audio books of Weird Sisters, Mort, Pyramids, I think, which was with the Assassin's Guild. Yeah, I love the ones with the witches. I love Death. I had the like TV animation of Soul Music that was another one of the Death ones. Um, that's when you start to get the all of the Monty Python associations because they had Monty Python people doing the voices in the cartoon and in the point and click adventure, didn't they? Eric Idle being Rincewind and stuff like that. Right, now we need a poo and a crown. Unless anyone has a better idea for an icon for someone being loathsome. Which means that, basically just means that other characters don't like them. And I think I'm going to make this crown a slightly different yellow. Just so it reads a bit different from the sunshine. Because they are different things. The crown isn't universally good in this, because if you put two leaders together, then they fight and they don't get on. Am I using a... Is there a way to turn off all of that anti-aliasing that's happening? Maybe just using a single pixel brush would be better. Problem with trying to do a three-pronged crown in pixel art with an even number of pixels is you can't make it properly symmetrical, can you? I think that will do though. Hi Triddle. Picture I'm gonna fit a picture of Elon Musk into that somehow. The thing I'm really sad about is that there's no way I'm gonna draw a poo that comes out as good first time as that one. Because that's a pretty good, that's a once in a lifetime poo right there. Go 1, 2, 3. No, it's just not as good. Maybe I'll use the cutout method that I did before. No. Yeah. I think you're right. I think I do need to copy and paste it. It's just this has got a lot less pixels, I think. But it is just right. Very legible as a poo. Pretty good poo. It's a little bit too small compared to the others. My poo is a very, very, very fine poo. I was going to start singing about sweet corn, but I thought better of it. Otherwise, Triddle will have nightmares. I just clicked on this streamer. I thought, he's quite a safe guy. He's not gonna start singing a Crosby, Stills and Nash song, but changing the words to being about poo. And then it happened. My worst nightmare. My poo is a very, very, very fine poo. I found it in the yard. It dried out and went hard. It's not as good as the OG one, but there's times in your life where you just have to take stock and think, look, how long am I going to spend trying to make this poo look better? It's a bit too textured compared to the other icons as well, but I think that was kind of amusing. And the problem about the sun is it looks more like a sort of holy sun than a happy sun. Because the whole point of this is that this character makes other characters happy when they work with them. That's what we're going for. So maybe I'll just put some goofy face on it. Like a little little chibi smiling eyes. Something like that. What am I gonna do about this poo? I would love if that was the sort of direction, like the evolution of this channel. Just becomes increasingly more and more poo related. Just slowly, slow descent into it so that no one realizes until it's too late. No, that's definitely wrong. That's definitely not a sunshine now. Some sort of Elden Ring gold mask priest. Maybe it should be a flower, because I feel like a flower is more oppositional to a poo. Indie Poopy Clinic. Sort of kind of lilac flower, I guess. That sort of thing. I feel that's going to be a bit clearer about what it means. If you've got one character that has a flower and one character that has a poo, I think that's a bit clearer than having a poo and a sun that are like opposite to each other. Wait, when did Patrick Stewart go on talk shows and talk about poo? That's amazing. Flower eats poo to grow. Crown crushes the flower. Poo wears the crown. Yeah, exactly. You can't just say that. You can't just tell me about this and then expect me not to watch it immediately. Oh, okay. He was the poo emoji. I didn't realize that.
Well,
that's amazing.
Part of my philosophy of finding diversity in the work that I do.
Yeah.
It's a movie that 30 years ago I probably wouldn't have accepted this role. But I am now honored and delighted to be playing the role of the emoji poop. In
It's the Emoji Movie.
It's the emoji movie.
It's the Emoji
so
Movie.
It's animated, of course.
Yes.
I'm poop.
You're-
What do you mean animated? Of course, like you could have just had a big cutout around you of the
the
emoji.
more times I can get you in this interview to say, Sir Patrick Stewart, I'm poop, the more delighted I will be.
A lot of people have said for years Patrick Stewart's acting is, and well, now I'm going to prove to them it's true.
Well, so I'm just curious. So there are many emojis to play, and you are playing the poop emoji. What was that conversation like when you get the call and it's your agent and he says, "Sir Patrick, I have some news for you. How does this go?"
You've had an offer. It's an animated movie, so it's going to be a voiceover, and it's going to be about emojis, which I use and very familiar with them. And then he said, "I don't know how you're going to feel about this, but the role they've offered you is," and it flashed into my head before he said it, but I listened to him say, "Poop," and it was not far, and I said, "Yes!" Because I mean, how diverse could an emoji role get?
Yes.
I mean, poop is it.
Yeah.
That's the one.
So I'm curious. So I'm guessing, I'm imagining you.
You want to know how I prepared for the role?
Yeah. Wow, that's man. I don't know if I want to go there.
No, there's
Well, what's your okay?
A lot
How
of
are you?
research.
Yeah. How are you going
all
to?
my life.
Yeah. How are you going to approach the character without giving too much away? Do you think?
With nose plugs on, like that. No, we're already halfway through. I've recorded the role once already, and
Right.
you know, with animated movies, you go back
Yes,
and back
yes,
and do
yes.
it again. So I'm waiting to hear further from the production company. But he is a very upright, very proper, rather cultivated-sounding Englishman, which you would expect. I
Yeah.
guess.
I love that. You went, yes, exactly. That's not exactly what you would think right away, but I love that you're taking poop in that direction.
Well, not me, but I'm sorry. Would you say that line again?
No, I'm not going to say that again. I just wanted you to talk about this. You have, and I'm delighted.
And moving on.
That's classic. Nightbat, I think that's a good shout. I did already save them, but I'm gonna do it now. I'm really not that happy with these, but I think part of it is because I can't see them in their use case in the game. So it's sort of hard for me to judge. Maybe we go down to here and then draw around there. I don't want it to look too tilted. Yeah, so X-Men they started doing the X-Men when I was like in my mid-teens, and I'd already fan cast him as Xavier very like long ago before that. And then when it was announced, I was like, yes, Hollywood finally doing something right. Yeah, I don't want to make this more round because it ends up looking like we're looking at from the top, and it just makes the object a bit too complicated. It does look a bit like a Is that what the Rebel badges from Star Wars look like? I don't know. I think it reads loosely as some sort of crown. So saving 2 versions. I'm going to save one without the vignette. And then one with the vignette. What are they called? Status icons with vignette. And then I can just make sure he's got both of them if he needs them both. Because I'm just a bit worried they'll get lost on these. If they're on the image, they'll need that vignette to make them stand out. They might not be on here. They might end up being like next to them or something. So just better to give the programmer the options, I think. And then I don't have anything else on the list. I'm quite happy with the main interface icons. I think these came out pretty decent. They definitely look different from each other when you zoom out. And then ads, I do want to do. I kind of want to know where they fit into the interface and how much space I've got for them, because I love making stuff like that, spoof ads. I made a board game prototype once that was sort of a Mad Max Thunderdome type situation. It was like the Running Man. It was a cyberpunk TV show where 4 characters were fighting, but you weren't playing as them directly. You were playing as the corporations that like arm them, and then you bet on them and stuff. And I made each player had like a corporation board, and they all had like really horrific cyberpunk corporation slogans. Like one was an arms manufacturer, one was a cryogenics company. I can't remember any of the slogans, but I love making that kind of, doing that kind of world building by making up companies and stuff. Poliguara. Hey, good. I'm glad you're enjoying the art stuff. I thought, yeah, I've not been sort of deliberately trying to do art content. It's just more of a case of if I'm on the computer and I think people would chat, then I just whack the stream on, really. And I'm always happy to show people me trying to do stuff that I'm not very confident with. Because one of the things that really holds people back with learning to do anything is thinking that, like, you know, people that have more skills at something are that way because they've just naturally got more skills, and not the fact that they've just pushed through loads of stuff to get slightly better over and over again. Yeah. I think that's everything I need to send over to our programmer for now. So I am going to put a game on for half an hour. And because I keep telling myself I will give it a second chance, I'm going to put Hollow Knight on for half an hour. Because the first time I tried to play this game, I just didn't get on with it at all. And I know it's supposed to be a classic. And everyone who likes it really likes it. I just never got on with it. I don't know, maybe we can brainstorm some ad ideas as well. That would be good. So, I think what you need to imagine, 1995. Like, what kind of adverts would Dr. Evil from Austin Powers be getting on his computer? Yeah, it kind of sucks when people drop out of stuff halfway through. I think it's very difficult for people to just admit when they've got problems going on that are weighing them down or whatever. And that's definitely one of the difficulties about working with teams when you don't know people very well, right? Like, that, like, yeah, I mean, it's just teamwork is hard. Teamwork with someone you don't know very well is even harder. Money laund. Yeah, money laundering thing. Rent a Thug. I mean, the game kind of is Rent a Thug already, so I wouldn't want to confuse people. But yeah, money laundering. Like somewhere like eBay, but for selling stolen goods. That might be a good one. In wilds beyond, they speak your name with reverence and regret, for none could tame our savage souls, yet you the challenge met. Under palest watch, you told, we changed, base instincts were redeemed. A world you gave to bug and beast, as they had never dreamed. I'm the poop emoji. I do have a auto ducking on my audio, so it dips the game when I speak over it, but it shouldn't be cutting out entirely. I really love the way lighting is done in this game, like the kind of bloom of the pinky lights and stuff. See? Moving when you jump around is so pretty. Higher beings, these words are for you alone. Your great strength marks you among us. Oh. Foolish. Really like the kind of landing feel as well. Did I just jump on that guy? Is that a thing you can do? Can you Mario jump on some creatures? Not him. I appreciate people being mad at Plus on my behalf. That was... okay, they're like extra temporary lives, I guess. I really like that the bug theme sort of lets you do this what if H.R. Geiger but cute. The like location design and stuff is very similar to H.R. Geiger, but it's kind of... yeah, sorry to hear that, Frederick. It's really sucks when people... I mean, being ghosted in any sort of situation sucks. But especially when you're trying to do something productive that you all agreed to do. Higher beings, these words are for you alone. Beyond this point you went to the land of King... wealth, glory, enlightenment, that darkness seems to promise all things. I'm sure you too seek your dreams down there. Well, watch out. It's a sickly air that fills the place. Creatures turn mad and travelers are robbed of their memories. Perhaps dreams aren't such great things after all. Oh dear. Fred, I think your comment actually reconnected the stream. So I looked round as the comment came in. Oh no, it's probably the other way around, isn't it? And shot back up to green again. For all your mapping supplies, we will be opening soon. Will you now? Down the well I go.